It gets a little thrown off, but eventually it gets focused. And can you guess what was under it? A piece of land, about 15 square inches, had sunk in. Jack goes up to the depression and looks inside, and he sees a big bag in there. He reaches in and pulls out the bag, pulls. And at first glance, it seems that the previous owner probably used this depression in the ground as a toilet, because in the bag there was a necklace, a bracelet, and a watch. However, alongside these jewels, there was something else that people don't usually keep alongside their valuables. What? A film from an old camera. Jack opens the film, does the light flash, and at that moment, he realizes that he has to call the FBI. The FBI prints 112 x-rays from this movie, guys. 112 x-rays of a woman who was taken in different positions. In the first x-rays, everything seemed normal, except for this woman crying. But gradually, as the X's went on, they became stranger and scarier. In the X's, a man's hand was seen, forcibly removing the woman's clothes. The next X showed her completely naked. The next X showed the woman being bent over and tied to a table with ropes. And so, the X's got worse and worse. By the time you finally reached the end of the line, this woman was lying on the ground. Her eyes were closed, and her body was completely covered in blood, in a way that even a 10-year-old child could understand. She had been tortured to the point of reaching the Holy Land. And now, I know what you're thinking. Thank God the FBI found these x-rays. Now they can investigate and find the murder and the victim. But they didn't, because there was no need to do this. Everyone in the FBI knew the woman in x-ray. They knew who the victim was. They knew who committed this crime. They knew the murder. But you might not believe it, but they weren't allowed to go and arrest him. Wow. So the FBI couldn't arrest the killer despite having such evidence. Was the killer some kind of president or something they couldn't touch? No. The killer was just an ordinary person. But for reasons that I'm going to explain in this video, he was completely protected by the law. Hello my angels, welcome to another video. In the last video, I promised you that I would... Melvin Henry Ignato was born on March 26, 1938 in Philadelphia, America. We call him Mel. He was the middle child in the family, had some siblings, and the only important thing about his parents is that they had different religions. His father was Jewish, his mother was Christian, and it wasn't like they had this religion because of their families. Both of them were deeply religious, and each of them tried to do something to attract their children to their religion. His father was more successful, but the kids had been more drawn towards Judaism because their home was closer to their father's family. And Jacob, who was able to attract his child to his religion, was like a success. You are giving so much in his life. And honestly, the only success this man had in his life was this, because he wasn't good at anything else. Especially business. Just think about it. He opened 3 supermarkets by borrowing money and taking loans, and all 3 of them failed miserably. He couldn't even recover the initial money he had invested. And in all of this, the only child who helped him was Mel. Every day, after school, Mel would go to his dad's supermarket, trying to help him, stocking the shelves, taking people's orders. Kel would try to do something that would eventually take over one of his dad's businesses. No matter how hard this kid tried, Jacob. He was not a businessman at all. He didn't know how to run a business. All of his businesses were doomed to failure from the very beginning. And this thing about kids should have been that Mel never felt financially comfortable in his life. This is from his father. His mother was a better caregiver than his father. She was a nurse from the age of 20 until she retired. She always brought a small but steady income to her family. Do you know what I mean? I mean, their family was such that the children always counted on their mother financially more than their father, because I knew that dad would waste all the money. And now you've heard they say that the more the better, Hassani. Melm, just like his father, was no good at anything. With the little income she had, their mother tried to send her children to different classes to discover their talents, and it was somewhat unsuccessful for my younger siblings. But Mel wasn't good at sports, art, or studying. He wasn't good at anything. Overall, this kid had no special talent. The only thing he was good at was being arrogant and lying. And I don't know how, but that was his only trait. They wanted to be friends with this boy when they were in school, and I really don't understand this piece of evidence, because Mel wasn't well behaved at all. He would talk badly of them. He didn't care about them. He was extremely misogynistic. But the brother probably had a high level of secrecy, because at the age of 22, he was able to easily marry his two best friends, Shrinkpan, who came from a family with a much better financial situation than Mel, and this was the best thing that happened to the children in their lives, because Sharon's family helped Mel change her whole life. Sharon's father went to Mel and got her a job at a household appliance company. And it turned out that this job was so high because of Sharon's father's acquaintance that Mel was able to feel financial comfort for the first time in his life. And this matter, this comfort and financial talk, had to be such that this person suddenly changed. His morals had to change. He would laugh with everyone at work. He would eat healthier. He would exercise. He would take care of his appearance. But could this work change the nature of a stupid and miserable person? Unfortunately, no. I wish it could be, but no. Mel's pleasant demeanor was just a mask that he put on, only in front of people he deemed valuable. Let me explain. Malignato would thoroughly examine everyone he met on his first encounter, and if he felt that this person could one day benefit him, be financially superior to him, he would be nice. But if he felt that the other person was even a little inferior to him, he would become the most ill-mannered and rude person in the world. And you know what's really interesting? That this value system was only for men. In Mel's eyes, all women, even if they were super rich and crazy, were inferior to Mel. Mel believed that gender matters, no matter who you are, and that being polite and well-mannered is not worth it. And I think you all know where the story is going now. Mel used his wife Sharon as a punching bag to vent his constant resentment of the world. The man made $150,000 to $200,000 a year from this woman's quick wit. But he was still not satisfied. He always said that the world was giving him a hard time because he had a difficult childhood. Now the world has to make everything easy for him. And when the slightest thing happened that showed that Callum's life was not going to be perfect, he would become angry and take his anger out on Sharon. My check didn't clear today. I'm going to take it out on Shirin. My boss spoke to me badly today. I'm going to take it out on Shirin. Shirin wouldn't confront him. She wasn't a person who would confront him in front of you.